What I'm going to show in this video is just a faster way of running simulation when you've got complex objects in the scene such as hair. I've created this clothing for this model that's already had the hair simulated, and you can see it's a fairly low poly item. You know, it's in the region of about 6,000 or 7,000 polygons, so not too complicated, and it shouldn't take too long to simulate with dForce. Now, one of the problems I've got is that the hair, you can see, is a very complex item, and if you leave it visible in the scene when you do the simulation, it slows it all down. If I look at the simulation, you'll see I've got start from a memorized pose, I've reduced the the collision mode is on the best, but the collision iterations I've dropped to 2. I think the default is 4. Now the hair, it was simulated, but what I've done is I've frozen the simulation because I don't need to simulate that again. But the clothing has got the simulation enabled. Now, if I tell this to simulate now, it's going to try and calculate the collision of the clothing with the body. But it's also trying to calculate collisions with the hair. Now, because I've used short hair, it's just not an issue. We know it's not going to collide, but the Daz obviously doesn't know this, and it tries to calculate collision with every single polygon in the hair. Now, I know this is going to take quite a long time to do, so if we look at the simulating from memorized pose bar, that is currently at 33 seconds and 6%. Now I'll fast forward this part of the video because you'll get bored, but you can see the hair's already had dForce applied and is already in position, so that's just moving around with the character. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Now you see we're coming up to 100% here, 9.5 minutes in. It's definitely using the GPU to do this as well. So it's finished the transition into the pose in, getting on 10 minutes took that. This is just the stabilization session period, so GPU use has gone up a bit, but we've done the transition, so I can cancel this. So nearly 10 minutes. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make the hair not visible at all. It won't be visible in the render, and it won't be visible in the simulation. And simulate this again. This time it's only got to calculate the collisions of the clothing against the figure. There is no hair in the calculation. So GPU use is sticking at about 40% again. But you can see already that the simulating from memorized pose is going considerably faster than it did last time. I'll let this one run through, it shouldn't take too long. So you can see I'm rendering this on a RTX 2060. It's a 12GB memory card, so all of the scene fits into the video RAM. And we're already at 41%, only 1 minute in. And utilisation of the GPU is at about, it's wavering between 40 and 70%. I'll skip a bit faster this time, just to cut the video a bit shorter, but you can see I'm at 60%, 63, won't take much longer. So we're just coming up on 2.5 minutes, 94%. And it's done. 2 minutes 40. It's just onto the stabilisation session again, but it's done exactly the same dForce simulation, same quality, much less time. Another way you can do this is if you make the hair visible and go to the display properties of the hair, you can make it not visible to the simulation. Because I've already done dForce on my hair, it doesn't need to be visible in a simulation anymore. But if I simulate this again, it's more or less doing the same as it just did. Except this time the hair stays visible to us on the display port. It'll be visible in the render still, without having to remember to turn it back on again. But because it's not visible in the simulation, it's being ignored again. I'll fast forward this because it'll be more or less the same time as the previous simulation. So here we are, 2 minutes 45, 2 minutes 52, done the simulation again. Give it a bit of stabilisation again. And we're done. Just in case you wondered. There we go. There's the final pose with the clothing simulated.